When Star Wars fans and lightsaber enthusiasts consider purchasing a new lightsaber, they'll often ask themselves, is this lightsaber duel worthy? Because let's be real, a lot of people when they purchase a lightsaber, they're going to want to duel in some capacity, right? Because when you watch lightsabers in the movies, the coolest scenes are the lightsaber duels. Now, lightsabers can be used for lots of different things. They can cut through doors, they can kind of deflect blaster bolts, lots of good stuff like that. And all of that's cool. But, everybody really wants to duel with a lightsaber. Those are all the cool scenes in the films, right? So that's a big thing people are looking for. Now, one thing when you're considering getting a lightsaber is, you need to kind of know there's a distinction between light contact and light dueling and heavy contact, heavy dueling, full-on sparring, okay? There's a very big distinction between those two categories. So a lot of people will do at least light contact, but that's just kind of like you're sort of playing around maybe with your friend. You each have a lightsaber and you're not just kind of trying to really whack them with it. You're just sort of making a little bit of contact enough so that if there's sound, with the lightsaber hilt, you'll get a little bit of sound out of it. You'll have some fun. You'll kind of move around. That would be sort of basic definition for light sparring, a very light contact. Now, heavy dueling can get pretty intense, okay? Especially if you look at the standards for an organization like the Saber Legion. So they do different lightsaber sparring, and all of the people in the Saber Legion, when they participate, are required to wear extra gear. So that should be a little bit of an indicator of how intense the dueling can be. You want to keep everybody safe. And in terms of when you say the word sparring, right? If you think of sparring with martial arts, there's contact. Somebody's going to get punched or hit, if it's like karate sparring, right? Same thing with lightsaber dueling, lightsaber sparring. Somebody's trying to kind of make contact with you. So it's not necessarily that you're just kind of trying to lightly hit the blades together, because that's often how you'll get the cool sounds, right, with a sound saber. But it's just a much more intense endeavor. People wear different kind of like fencing equipment and, like a fencing helmet and different kind of hockey pads and things. That's quite common if you're doing this really intense type of dueling or sparring. So that's really a big distinction there, because I know a lot of people will comment in different saber sourcing videos, hey, these Force FX lightsabers are totally duel worthy. I do it all the time. Well, that might be so if you're doing very light contact, but if you're doing kind of more rigorous dueling with the Force FX lightsabers, these are not designed for that, okay? So like Hasbro even says so on the box. They call these an adult collectible. They don't say they're for dueling at all. They don't kind of condone dueling with them. Although certainly in the back of their mind, they must know that fans want to duel with these lightsabers. But at any rate, certain things like the Force FX lightsabers are definitely not designed for dueling. So you want to do some of your research with that in advance, because otherwise, you could risk damaging the blade, the saber. You could also get hurt, right? So you want to be real careful. Now, if you're looking for sabers that are duel worthy, at this point, you probably want to go with different custom saber manufacturers. There are a lot out there, and there are a lot of opinions out there about them. But if you're doing real kind of dueling, you're going to want to get something with a heavy grade blade. That's a blade that's a thicker blade stock. If you use a mid-grade blade, those can just break pretty easily in more intense dueling. And also you want to make sure you have kind of a sturdy enough hilt. So there's some very kind of popular budget sound sabers out there that are very inexpensive, like $100 or under $100. And many of those are not kind of good enough for rigorous dueling. Now, some of the lower end Ultra Sabers, lightsabers would be okay with dueling, and those would be the kind of no sound stunt sabers. Those are under $100. A lot of people will use those for dueling, but some of the kind of budget YDD sound sabers, or they're often kind of unbranded, or the brand isn't often listed with them when you purchase them. They're very inexpensive sound sabers. Those are often not good for dueling. They'll use kind of a smaller blade, a blade that's not thick enough, and just the hilt itself is also not necessarily designed for that. It's designed more for light contact. So bear that in mind whenever you're shopping around for lightsabers. Certainly look if the company says that the hilt is designed for dueling or not, although don't just trust the company blindly either. It is nice. Some companies will say that a product is only designed for kind of light dueling or kind of medium dueling. And so when they do say that, keep that in mind, file that away. That's not for kind of intense sparring. But always make sure you do your research, whether it's with, Force FX lightsabers or any of the custom lightsabers. Don't take my word for it. There's a lot of good information out there, a lot of good resources. So just check that out in advance. But make sure you acknowledge there is a very big distinction between participating in light dueling, light contact, lightsaber stuff versus heavy dueling, sparring, and that type of stuff. So please comment below. Do you do lightsaber dueling? Do you do kind of the fun, kind of light contact stuff? Or do you do more rigorous, sort of like medium or heavy dueling? Please comment below.